New Thought Media Network proudly presents Lindsay Leimbach, Practicing Infinite Possibilities, Fridays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. And now, here's Lindsay.
Good morning, everybody. How are you guys? I'm so happy to be here. So do you have your cup of coffee to dive into PIP, Practicing Infinite Possibilities? Actually, let's not do coffee. Let's do water. It's better for you. Hey, I want to welcome, let's see who's here. Oh, Trudy's here. My dad's here. My mom's here. Oh, it's so good to see you. And I believe that we'll have lots of other people that will be showing up. I know it if you put comments in. All right. So what are we diving in today? We are diving into something that's so powerful. Practice going slow to go fast. We're really going to embrace that. And the thing about this is I have so much I want to tell you that I want to go fast. So I'm like, how do I do this? I have to show you to practice slow so we can actually go fast. So let's see what that means. Well, to me, it's really what I have talked about a lot in mindfulness, which is the 3 P's: practice, patience, and perseverance. We need to have those 3s to cultivate our mind. So we are the rulers of our mind, not our mind ruling us. In other words, we want to open up our pathways to the infinite possibilities and not live in the fear that our mind comes up. Some people call it the story mind or the storyteller or the roommate mind, but that back part of the mind that ruminates going, you're not good enough, we don't have enough time, there's not enough money, the world's going, all that pops in. And then that part of your mind rules your day. And if that part of your mind, that fear-based thinking rules your day, then you have those emotions that pull you down. And then you don't see the infinite possibilities that come out of hope, light, love, curiosity, gratitude, all these wonderful present moments we have. So here we go. Now, I was like, how do I start this concept? And I realized my husband gave me the way. We need to understand the brain. Now, my husband practices the piano most every single day, and he really enjoys it. And he does his scales and stuff. And he came to me one day and he said, I've been practicing wrong. And I thought, you've been dedicated. You've been working hard. You practice at least a half an hour a day. Sometimes you practice hours a day. He goes, I realized I was practicing fast. And I realized what you want to do is practice slow. So when you're practicing slow, you're doing it right. Think about that. How many times do we say, okay, we're going to practice something, but then we rush through it? And if we rush through it, like if you're rushing through your scales or you're rushing through a song on the piano, then what you're really doing is imprinting the wrong way. Yeah, you're spending time doing it, but you're not doing it the right way. And what we need to do is slow it down and really get into our subconscious mind the right way of doing things. So with neuroplasticity, what you're doing is what you tell the brain to do, the brain will learn to do. And if you tell the brain to do a song wrong, then the brain will do the song wrong. So when we're practicing our life, when we're practicing our spirituality, when we're practicing to be in higher consciousness, we need to slow it down. And when you read all these wonderful books of great people, they're like, enter the stillness. They're like, slow it down. Tap into the present moment. Tap into the right way of hearing your brain, the higher conscious way of hearing your brain, your Christ consciousness or your Buddha nature. Don't do it that rushed way, because the rushed way ends up being the lower level of the brain, which is basically ruled by your fear. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't have to face your fear, but can you face your fear without throwing it out or being distracted by it? Can you hold it in a nice, patient, with practice, with perseverance, with an open mind, to get in there and really study it, so then you can go to the higher level of what to do next? So you say, okay, Lindsay, well, you're talking about practicing the piano. But let me tell you a real life story that happened to me. And it's a real good example. When I was the head of a school, a child was extremely upset. And he had those big black boots on. He was probably about 12. And they had the steel tops, and those big black boots. In my school, I knew that the kids that I worked with could get very upset because a lot of them had emotional issues. That's why they came to the school that I had. So I had been practicing for years. I do my meditation before, and I do my prayers before I went to work. I got myself settled, knowing that their chaos doesn't have to be my chaos. So when I saw this child and I saw how mad they were, and they were heading for a glass door, and I could see exactly what was about to happen, and I screamed, "No!" And what did he do? Yes, he kicked the glass door. And then I said, "Stop." And he pulled his leg out from the glass door. And really, I don't want to get into the details, but it cut the back of his leg where his calf is. And it was not a pretty sight. So how did I react to that? It was interesting. When that happened, even though I was moving fast, in my mind, I was moving slow. I didn't enter the fear state and go into a fight, flight, freeze mode. I went into problem solving mode. And probably people that have been in that flow state, even though on the outside it's going fast, everything slows down and it feels okay. I'm not saying I was happy that this was happening, but I didn't enter into that fear state. And so as soon as it happened, I looked at a staff member. He said, "Call 911. I ran over to him. I said, "Just don't look." And I made him look away from his leg because it was not a pretty sight. I grabbed the back of his leg. I hold it. I looked at another staff and I said, "Listen, go on top of the file cabinet in the other room, and there's a tablecloth. Bring it to me right away." Now, how did I know that? I knew that because I was thinking not out of fear, but out of problem solving. I was able to access that higher level of thinking, even in this crucial moment. And I wrapped his leg up, made it higher, made him rest his head on my shoulder, talked to him smoothly, waited. Thank goodness we're in the city. Within minutes, the paramedics came and they're like, "Wow, you did the exact right thing." It's because I had practiced for years on how to be calm in chaos. That's mindfulness. This is what they teach in the fire department. This is what they teach in the police academies now. You're going to enter into chaos, but can you stay calm in the chaos and still think clearly? This takes practice. This is why at my school also we did fire drills all the time and earthquake drills all the time, because when the bell went off, I didn't want that to trigger the children at the school to go into chaos and freeze. I wanted it to be, "Oh, okay, I know exactly what to do." You practice. Oh, here's the greatest quote. Okay. "We don't rise to the occasion. We fall to our level of training." Ryan Holiday quote out of this book that I love, Discipline is Destiny. We don't rise to the occasion. We fall to the level of training when things get tough. So what is the practice you do? And when you do practice, when I was practicing with the kids for fire drills, I didn't make them race through it. Get up slowly. It's okay. Line up. Go outside. So when we're learning how to get down into here, into our training, we have to do our training slowly, so it really embeds inside of our neuroplasticity, inside our mind through neuroplasticity, the right way of doing it. The right way of doing it. That's why I wanted to write this as our title, Practice Going Slow to Go Fast. It doesn't mean to freeze when you're practicing going slow. It means that you know how to do it. You practice studying for a test, do it slowly, gets in the brain. When the test comes, then it comes out fast. You're in the flow. People don't realize slowing down is power. Is power. And slowing down to learn how to do things right is your choice. It is your choice. All right, let me go over to here. Here's another wonderful quote. Here's the quote. I'm sorry. Let me put this one up. Do it right and it goes quickly. Try to go quickly and it won't be right. Think about that. So how many times have you not liked something and you rush through it? This is another time to go fast. You rush through it and then you had to redo it. You know, you can even teach this to your kids. They rush through to clean their room and then you go into a room, you're like, this isn't clean. You're staying back and you're doing it again. That's what happens. Do it right the first time in this slow way, being able to make sure that you're doing it right, making sure that you're concentrating, make sure, here's the big word, you're in the present moment, that you're actually doing, your mind is on what you're doing. Slow it down. Now, my mom actually taught me this. This is what she said to me. Don't do a lazy man's load. Why did she say that to me? A lazy man's load is because my mom said, well, you carry all this stuff in that was your great aunt's from the car. I was probably about 13 years old, 12, 13 years old. And I did a lazy man's load. I loaded myself up with all this stuff like this. And I'm like, I'm carrying it in as fast as I could. So what did I do? I dropped it and I broke it. And I really want to shout out to my mom, who I think is listening. I knew she was upset that I broke it, but she turned it into a teaching moment. And she said, don't do a lazy man's load. And to this day, I realized, take it slow. Do it right. Do it right. If you can know how to do it, don't cut corners. Do it right so you don't do it again, have to do it again, or so it doesn't break. This is exactly what Ryan Holiday is saying in this. Do it right and it goes quickly. Try to do it quickly and it won't be right. You have control of your day. Line it up. Line it up. Make the right decisions. Don't just let your day control you. You have control of your day. You don't have control of your outside environment. That's true. But you have control on how you want to set up your day and then execute it out to your best ability. This is what PIP is always talking about, the ABCs of PIP. Be aware of what's going on. Take that breath. When you take that breath, you're slowing it down, you're pulling yourself into the present moment. And so then if you can get yourself there, then you can see your choices, right? Your infinite choices. When you go fast, you don't see your infinite choices that you could say that God is presenting to you or that the universe is giving to you. You're in your habitual patterns. You're on that hamster wheel and you're just seeming like you're chasing and going nowhere. So what you want to do is be mindful, be in the present moment, slow it down in the present moment, take a breath, and really be aware of what's going on so you can see your infinite choices. See, going slow gives you the power. Going fast without doing the work, going fast without doing the work in the practice that we were talking about, then you just keep doing the same habits over and over and over again. I wrote this easy. The sacred pause. You can say it's a breath. You can just say it's a moment. You take that sacred pause. Now, you can say, I'm going to take that sacred pause during the day, which is something that I do all the time when I make my days, like I'm doing PIP now. And then I have about a half an hour before I have my next appointment. This way, I have that sacred pause. And if PIP is running long or I have to make a phone call, I'm not like, oh man, I got to go. And I'm feeling like I'm running. I give myself these sacred pauses to take the breath, to center myself, to be in the present moment. Very important to take a sacred pause when you feel challenged, when you can feel, remember we were talking about the amygdala going off and you get that fear-based thinking. When you start feeling fear coming into your life, what you want to do is slow it down, take that sacred pause, allow yourself to come to your higher consciousness and then look around. So when you're angry, sacred pause. When you're frustrated, sacred pause. See, a lot of times when we're feeling angry or frustrated, we don't think that we want to attack. Don't attack. Take the sacred pause. I've talked about the power of 3. Give yourself 3 seconds. Give yourself 3 minutes. Give yourself sometimes 3 hours. Give yourself sometimes 3 days to take that sacred pause. Slow it down so you can go into the infinite possibilities to make the higher consciousness choice, to take that higher consciousness. So powerful. This is what this whole PIP is about, is being able to allow your mind, you control your mind instead of your mind controlling you. How do you do it? Slow it down so you can do it right. Slow it down so you can do it right. Last week, I talked about this wonderful meditation, morning meditation by Jonathan Liam on Insight Timer. Highly recommend it. Totally listen to it today. It has 7 great affirmations. The second affirmation it has is, I cultivate patience, and by doing so, I cultivate self-confidence. Let me read that again to you. I cultivate patience. By doing so, I cultivate self-confidence. Now, what does that mean? When you have patience, you're slowing it down, right? You don't feel like you have to win. You don't feel like you have to get the last word in. You feel like you have some time to do it right. And by doing that, you're trusting yourself, self-confidence. You're trusting yourself that you can do it right. It's so incredible. See, when people are not self-confident, what they do is they lash out. They feel like they have to have the last word. They feel like they need to overpower someone verbally. Someone who is self-confident can just allow the other person to finish speaking, right? They don't have to prove they're right. If they're patient, they can really listen. What a gift to really listen and see someone else's point of view. Slow it down. You don't have to be right. Slow it down. Be patient. Let the other person get heard and being listened to. You're not going to fall apart if you're patient. What you're doing is being more courageous, standing in your truth, trusting that the universe is going to be okay. You don't have to control everything. When you're patient, You don't feel like you have to control the moment. You can look at it and just see it as it is, which is mindfulness. And through this, you know you have self-confidence. The self-confidence comes from inside. So this is exactly what I'm trying to explain. Slow it down and be mindful versus slowing it down to be fearful. I said, well, what does that mean? You just said slowing it down. But sometimes when people slow it down and they're really what they're doing is they're avoiding. So I want you to think about that. If you're slowing it down, I'm not saying I can't get the word out, procrastinate. That's not what I'm talking about. You're consciously slowing it down so you can be in the present moment, so you can be aware of what's going on, so you can see all the different points of view. You're slowing it down so the amygdala and the fear don't take over. You don't want to slow it down and say, and procrastinate and say, well, I'll do it tomorrow. Now that's fear-based slowing it down. Remember, it's fight, flight, or freeze. We're not talking about freezing, slowing it down and freezing. We're talking about slowing it down to be more present, to enter that sacred moment of awareness. Once again, you're the person who has to look and be aware of how you feel and how you're acting in this. But once you slow it down to be more mindful, then you're really able to persevere. Tortoise and the hare. I love that. It's a Greek fable, right? And I think it's almost close to like 2,800 years old, if I remember right. In it, of course, there's many versions that have been written of the tortoise and the hare, but the one that I'm going to tell you that I understand from the beginning is that you had the tortoise, the turtle, who kept moving slowly, right? And just kept persevering and making it, where you had the hare who mocked the turtle and had the capability to take the race and win the race, but got cocky and allowed his ego to take over. And he's like, I can start, in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and would take a nap and so forth. And by the time the turtle just kept persevering, kept going forward, making the step, and he won the race. Well, this is so powerful when we're talking about taking it slow. You want to persevere and make your goals, but think about as your life as a marathon or a journey. It's not about racing as fast as you can at this moment. It's about enjoying it, enjoying the adventure of the ride, and knowing that there isn't an end. You want to have a goal, but my goal in my life is to be authentic, and have purpose and meaning. That will keep changing and evolving as I am the turtle moving forward. You don't race up to one moment and say, that did it. That's it. Now I'm going to take a nap and go to sleep. You have to learn how to pace yourself, really get into that flow, right? And sometimes it's a little faster and sometimes it's a little slower, right? Life is a lot like the ocean, the waves of the ocean, and you have to surf the waves of the ocean. But in that, know that it's a wonderful pace. Take it slow so you can go fast, meaning you can take it slow so you can last the whole time and you don't burn out. You don't burn out. And that's what happens so much in our society, is that there's lots of burnout. People think they have to do more. And that's what we talked about last week, in being able to say no to things that are not serving you and say yes to things that do serve you and activate your purpose and meaning. That's the journey, the marathon, so you can learn how to have a nice pace on what's going on and you don't burn out because you've given all your energy away. So it comes down to being able to have this power of delayed gratification. And we're circling back to the brain. A lot of people want to go fast because they want the reward right away. And actually, children want to go fast. I don't want to eat my dinner because I want to have my dessert, right? They want to have the gratification. But we have to trust ourselves that we can delay the gratification in the present moment, knowing that the long haul is the gratification. So you're able to study for the exam now, even though you didn't go to the party, so you can do well on the test and continue on in your education. This is a skill, to be able to delay gratification. And people who can't delay gratification don't really like to take it slow because they want to go fast like the hare, but then they burn out. So we need to learn how to take it slow, delay our gratification, knowing that in the long run, we can trust that we can get what we need. Maybe not what we want, but what we need. So go back to the piano playing. My husband practices scales slowly. You can't say that's totally fun, but practice it slowly. So he delays the gratification so it goes in correctly into his brain. So when he does play fast, he plays in the flow and he plays it correctly. And then the gratification of playing the song in its right tempo is so rewarding and so lasting. The question is, can you do that? Can you do that? So let me give you a few tips how to do that. We talked about one thing, the sacred pause. Taking the sacred pause, putting it into your schedule, 15 minutes here and there, or even a half an hour or an hour, where you get to then really get yourself into the present moment, because the present moment is where the power is. But I make sure, I make sure that I have these little 15 minutes or half an hour throughout my day to make sure I'm present and living to my highest instead of just doing things out of rote and missing the whole day. Okay. Take 3 breaths. So when you're starting to feel your energy and your emotions to go extreme out of fear, slow it down. Slow your breathing down. That'll slow your pace down and allow you to access your higher level of thinking, right? Sometimes what I do to pull myself into the present moment, to slow myself down, is I'll close my eyes for just a minute and I listen to all the sounds that are going around, the birds, the wind, the doors, the cars, whatever it is. But when you do that, what you do is you get yourself out of that worried mind or that fast-paced mind and pull yourself into the present moment. And it helps give you clarity. Of course, gratitude is a wonderful way to slow yourself down. Can you take a gratitude break? So in the middle of the day, especially if you're very busy and it's, let's say, your lunch break, sit down and think of the things that you're grateful for. When you do that, you're slowing yourself down and you're getting out of just that pace of automatic pilot and pulling yourself up into your higher level of consciousness. So gratitude helps you slow down so you can activate and be more efficient. The biggest way to actually slow yourself down and really get yourself into the higher level of thinking. Well, gratitude is one of the biggest ways, so I don't want to say. Another big way is curiosity. Curiosity. That is so powerful. Get curious. Curiosity pulls you out of habitual ways of doing things and allows you to slow down and then think of the infinite possibilities. It gets you into your higher conscious of thinking. It activates your conscious thinking, this prefrontal cortex. Curiosity gives you the ability to say, there's other ways to doing it, but I need to sit back and just listen to all the infinite possibilities that are coming up from my subconscious mind or my Christ conscious mind, my Buddha nature mind. Curiosity is power. It's absolute power. So in our class, I hit the wrong button. Hold on real quick. Let me see. Let me go up here. Here we go. Practice, patience, and perseverance are a way to slow things down so you can imprint the correct way of doing things. So then you have the confidence to execute at a higher level. It doesn't mean that you don't move quickly when you need to move quickly, but if you've practiced how to play the piano slowly, then when it's time to play it fast, you can do it. If you've practiced drills or being calm in chaos, then when chaos happens, you can be calm. It's a practice, and you have to have patience and you have to persevere, and those are all powerful choices you have. Well, I hope you liked our class today. I really enjoyed it, and I had fun thinking about it. I want to just go back to the title here again. Remember, practice going slow so you can go fast. Practice going slow so you can go fast. Your brain will want to go fast, and you are the one who needs to slow it down so you can learn how to do it with a higher level of conscious thinking. If you want to get in touch with me, Centeredmoment at gmail.com. Feel free to reach out anytime or check out my website. I want to thank New Thought Media Network for all they do. Remember that it is a nonprofit organization, and I'm really glad that they have this platform for me and all the other people. I want to just check over here. Oh, I want to say a shout out to Kevin. Thank you for showing up. If you know people who would enjoy this program, please feel free to send it to them and like it. And just think, how can you make your day a little slower so it's more skillful, and actually it allows you to be more effective, which means you actually can be faster in reaching your goals or executing whatever you desire. Until next week, we go back to here. I really enjoyed this time, and I am very grateful. All my love to you.